Hey Teen Camp, I am so excited to see you again in this video, and I'm also excited because we are going to be doing something very fun. Well, I think it's fun. Hopefully you also think it's fun. But we are going to be learning French. And I don't know if you watched my last video where I was doing a video on the animals and the planets, and they were both in Spanish, or some parts were in Spanish. And then in those videos I did mention that I love languages. So another language that I do speak, maybe not as fluent, but I did study this language for about 4 to 5 years. It is French. So I decided to make this video. I said, why not? Like, I love this language. I think you can learn some cool phrases to say in a different language and impress your friends. So yeah, let's get started. So today the theme, I wanted to have a theme for what we're gonna learn, right? And I wanted to structure it in a way that you can learn the most. So our theme for this video will be restaurants. So everything that we learn in French will be related to our theme, which is restaurants. So we'll be learning maybe to say some foods, maybe, not maybe, we will. We'll be learning how to say some foods in French, how to order at a restaurant in French, and some really polite phrases to say when you order, like please. So I'm excited to be starting this up right now. The first thing that we are going to do is, I think we're going to practice how to pronounce the letter R in French, because also it is difficult. I honestly think it is less difficult than pronouncing it in Spanish, but it can still be difficult to pronounce in French too. So the R, let's find a word. What can we say that has the letter R in French so you can hear what it sounds like? Let me think here. Okay, so a really cool, not cool, but like a really probably strange food they have in that's very popular in France is snails. So you pronounce the snails in French as l'escargot, l'escargot, l'escargot. So the R, where you hear after the A, scargot, scargot, is pronounced with kind of like a phlegmy, like, you know, you have like phlegm stuck in your throat, and then you're kind of like saying the G sound too, like ska, ska, skako, skako, skako. Now let me think of another word, because that one's tricky because it has both the G after, which we're already making a G sound with the R, but ska, skako. Let me see another one. We're not learning yet. I'm just trying to like show you how the letter R sounds, but I feel like that's a good of an example. So let's practice. So again, act like you have phlegm or something stuck in your throat, and you're like, oh. You know, you're kind of like trying to sense out where it is. So you're saying, pronounce the G sound like go, and you know, it probably looks very bad, but that's how you do this. Like that's how I learned how to pronounce the letter R in French when I was studying in high school. So it's like you have something stuck in your throat, and as much as you practice and mimic that sound, that's when you're gonna succeed in pronouncing it correctly. So I'm gonna pronounce it one more time so you can repeat after me, and hopefully you improved. So scar, scar, scargo, scar, scar. Or we can say bonjour, but that's more of like, yeah, that's a different type of R, never mind. Like pa, 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 you see the little G at the end, pa, pa, that means part. But yeah, there's like a G sound to it. So yeah. So let's just dive into the learning right now. Now that we kind of got the R down. And don't be embarrassed to try this at home. Like, pronounce it. You know, it might be funny because you probably never done these sounds before. So it might be strange and unusual, but the more you practice, the better you get at it. So don't be embarrassed. Be very open-minded about this. And try it with your friends, with somebody that's watching the video. And also, if you have a notebook and a pencil to take notes, that would be very good, because I will be writing stuff on the screen that I will be teaching, and you can always note that, and you can always practice after you watch the entire video. So, okay, so our theme again is restaurants, and I have my notes here of what we're going to be learning. So, you know, in English, you know, you have like a sentence, right? It's structured in a very similar way, always. So it always has a pronoun, which is usually I, if I'm talking about myself, right? The pronoun is I. And then it follows by a verb, which is an action. Like I run, right? That's the action. And then after that is usually a noun. Like you can say, I run to the store. So the store is a noun. So it's very easy. Those basic three things create a whole sentence and create a bridge to communication, you know, between two people. So that's crazy and cool. So okay. So now we're gonna learn how to say I in French, which I'm gonna write it here too. And you say it like this. So it's written like this, and you pronounce it as je. So again, it might be tricky reading it because it's probably not gonna sound like it's written, because again, your brain is like English. But in French, this is actually how you would pronounce it. So again, je. So it's not J. It's not J. It's kind of like a E and an U, like a je. If there was like an in between of an E and a U, it would be like je. How you pronounce that? So that is how you pronounce I. That means I. And now we're gonna learn a very important verb that we're gonna use in French when ordering food. So you know how in English you say, I'll take this, I'll take that, I'll take the mashed potatoes. So in French you say prendre. And I guess in the beginning I taught you how to say the letter R, because this word has the letter R twice. So now we're gonna get to practice. We can split it in half. So the first half is gonna be prendre. So try it, and you'll get it. Prendre. And the second half of the word is dre. It kind of maybe, it's gonna be easier if you kind of pronounce it slowly. So in the beginning, the first half of the word is prendre. So maybe you can say prendre. You know, that's not how you pronounce it, but that's kind of like breaking it down, and then you get faster. Prendre. And then that's how you pronounce it. Prendre. And then the second half again, you can say dre. And then get faster and faster. Dre. And that's how you pronounce it. Then you combine them both. Prendre. And that's the whole word. Okay. So again, we have the pronoun I, right? We have the verb prendre. Now we're gonna learn some nouns. And if you remember our theme, our nouns are gonna be the food that we're gonna eat or that we're gonna order. So, okay, so I have 4 nouns for you to learn today. So we're not gonna make it too difficult and give you a whole list, but only 4 words that again, you can write on a notebook and practice it for later. Practice it if you like really want to memorize these words and really want to learn to start learning this language. That would be very good. But these are the words. So la pizza, that's what it sounds like, pizza, but it's la pizza, pizza, pizza. Then we have le steak. That's again what it sounds like, steak, but it's pronounced le. Again, the little e, the e is hard. It's hard. The same e in je, right? So le steak. Then we have a very popular dish that we all know, but maybe we don't pronounce it correctly. So in English you would say croissant, but in French you would say le croissant, le croissant. And then we have the R there that always gets us, but that we've learned to treat kind of like a G sound, you know, a very phlegmy G sound. So again, le croix, oh, you can say quoi, quoi. That's kind of a good reference. Quoi, that's easy, right? Quoi, that's easier at least. And then kind of like make it like quoi, quoi, croissant, 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 croissant. So if you break it down, I guess it gets easier, so that's good. So we learned that now. So again, le croissant, croissant. Then we have our last food, which is bread. And then you would say le again, pain. That's easy. That's actually probably the easiest word that we have said in the whole video. So le pain, pain, le pain. Okay. So now we have our pronoun je, which means I. We have our verb prendre, which means I will take, or I will, I'll take. And then we have our foreign nouns, la pizza, le steak, le croissant, and le pain. And now we're gonna learn one phrase that's a very important phrase when ordering something, or when doing something, or when asking for something, right? Which is please. So this phrase you say, s'il vous plaît, s'il vous plaît. And then it's written like this, but again, it's gonna be hard if you read the way it's written, because in English, of course, you would read it differently, but in French, you would read it s'il vous plaît, s'il vous plaît, s'il vous plaît. Okay, so now that we have that, let's try to put it together and let's kind of create sentences. So we have the foundation of a sentence, right? So you would, so if we start with pizza, I will take a pizza, please. You can say, je prendrai la pizza, s'il vous plaît. And then, we'll have next? We'll have steak. So if I want a steak, I will say, je prendrai le steak, s'il vous plaît. And then we have le croissant. And then we can say, je prendrai le croissant, s'il vous plaît. And then our last one is le pain. So we can say, je prendrai le pain, s'il vous plaît. So that is how to order food at a restaurant in Paris or in France or in Quebec, which is in Canada, they speak French, or in Nigeria, in Africa, they speak French too. So there's different countries that speak French. So to be honest, French is a very popular language. And I think they offer in a lot of schools, like in high schools, in middle schools. So ever since I was younger, I had to learn how to speak English, and then when I did that, my first language is Spanish. So when I was studying, I had to choose what language to study. I said, I already speak Spanish, so why not try to learn French? So that's how basically I started my journey with this language, and that was in high school. Now I'm in college, but it was really fun. So one of my goals now is to actually visit France and kind of practice what I've learned. So hopefully I'll do that in the future. But I am so glad that I taught you some words in French. I taught you some phrases in French, had to kind of create a sentence in French, and we will have another French class next week. So I won't tell you what we're going to be learning yet, but it's going to be a fun one, and we're going to actually have an activity to do with what we learned. So in this one it's just learning, but in the next one we'll be learning and kind of practicing with an activity. But yeah, that was it. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.